Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Healing Vibrations. And this is the podcast where we look at what illness means and to see if we can change the perspective to actually see it as a gift. Well, today I'm very excited to be joined by an amazing young man by the name of Isaac Harvey. And we met on LinkedIn, the places where people meet these days.
Yes.
And I was inspired to reach out because he is an incredible character. So I'm going to leave it there because he wears lots of different hats and involved in lots of different projects. So Isaac, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Yes, so thank you for having me today to give you a platform to speak about my life and myself. So my name's Isaac, and I have a disability called limb pelvic hypoaplasia, which means I have no arms and short legs. I have scoliosis which is the curvature of my spine, which has been corrected by metalwork. And I have a weak pelvis, which means I'm unable to walk, but I have a wheelchair, which allows me to get from A to B. And growing up with this disability, I have had very supportive friends and family who have been around me and always encouraged me to do things. So it's allowed me to do things such as skydiving, sailing, skiing, and a lot of other things, and even becoming a high achiever, where I got to carry the Olympic torch for the London 2012 Games. And since then, I've just been able to, I'm a video editor, project facilitator, and the list goes on and on.
And do you think that, because obviously this is something that you've had to contend with since ever for you, this is your world. Do you think your disability has pushed you into becoming that high achiever and doing some of these crazy things?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I feel without my disability, I don't think I would be pushed to keep going and achieving more. Because as technology has advanced and new ways of doing things, people with disabilities are able to do a lot more. And I just like to see as one opportunity comes, another one opens. And I just kind of want to show people what can be done with a disability.
Oh, it's incredible, and you're a real advocate for helping people with disabilities and just sort of allowing, like you said, that other perspective, because disability doesn't, well, when I think about some of the things that you've done and you know, my disability, because I've got MS, this is something that's joined me later in life.
Yeah.
And of course that's a different set of challenges, I guess, because
yes.
You know, people that get ill later on in life then have the challenges of changing the course of their life. And you talked about, you know, doors opening and opportunities, and I talk to my clients a lot about stop batting on the doors that have shut and worrying about what we can't do, and actually turn around and see what we can do. And I think you demonstrated that in just the first 5 minutes of our conversation with like skydiving and skiing and sailing, which is something that, you know, even as able-bodied, I'd never done. And I just wonder how many other people, you know, get upset about things they might not be able to do, but would they have actually done them even if? And actually maybe by almost having doors closing, then it sort of forces you to look at other ways of doing things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where we're not taught it when we're young, because usually in school we kind of go down the one path and we're not really open to these other opportunities, and we don't have a chance to think about, as one door closes, another one opens. We just think once it's closed, we can't do anything else.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's one of those things that sadly you can't really, you can tell people that, but I mean, it's one of those things you have to discover yourself, self-discovery, because, you know, I wanted to become like a big YouTuber, because I done video editing and I did vlogging, and all I wanted to do was become a big vlogger. And during the times that I was like doing skiing and all these other great things, I kind of was closed-minded to what I was actually achieving because I was so focused on this one goal, and because it wasn't working, that's when I had like problems with my mindset and having to deal with that and have that self-discovery. And once I kind of dealt with that and learned about my mind, was then when my eyes opened to like, oh, actually, I have achieved a lot in life, and I've done things that I didn't think I would be able to achieve. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really incredible. You
Yeah.
talk about your sort of your journey of self-discovery. So what was your sort of challenge? I feel a bit daft asking that because it's obvious what your challenges are. but what was your sort of mindset? What was your sort of mindset challenges, and what do you think your sort of shift in that was?
I think, well, my biggest mindset problem was always having to be in my mind. I thought, because I'm doing all these inspirational things, I had to always be happy. I always had to put on this face to say, look, hey, like I didn't want to, what's the word? I didn't want to show people that I was down, because everyone knew me as Isaac who'd done the skydive, Isaac who'd done the skiing. So I kind of kept that persona up as me always being positive. And then because of that, everything I shared online was all the good stuff, and I never really showed the bad stuff because me growing up with this day and age, I think with most influencers nowadays, they only mainly share the good stuff. So I thought that's how life is. And because I wasn't honest with others and then not honest with myself, it really put a toll on me. And always having to do the fake, oh, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm fine today.
I'm amazing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. When in reality, I'm not. And then I was also a bit scared to talk to friends about it because, I didn't want to show them that. I don't know. It's kind of like showing that I'm weak.
It's a vulnerability, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just didn't feel comfortable with that. And then just got to a bit of a breaking point where I thought, okay, I can't be dealing with this anymore. So I kind of took a step back, and then I took to online and started learning about the mind. And then that's when I learned about things like the law of attraction and how we think, feel, and speak is the reality that we create. And also learning how important being honest is. And surprise, surprise, being honest, people want to listen to you and actually relate to you. So that helped me as well as helping others, and people could relate to it better.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you say about getting honest, because I've got a whole program around getting honest, because it's more challenging than you think, and you've obviously described that, because actually we don't want to be that miserable person that brings people down. But then on the other hand, it's being real, isn't it? It's being real and not being stuck in that place for too long. And I think how we get out of that place is with a bit of honesty.
Yes.
A bit of self-reflection, and like you said, actually recognizing, wow, look at all the things you have done. And I just want to say to the audience as well, you don't necessarily have to be like skydiving or skiing or sailing without any arms and legs to have done really cool things. It's everybody can be in a position where they've achieved stuff that they didn't think they would have done, and they've moved forward in life, and we're all here. We're all still here in this space, so we've all achieved a lot.
I'm just a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so you don't have to follow my footsteps.
No, I've no desire to follow your footsteps. Although I must say that the wheelchairs and wheels thing that you're doing looks lots of fun. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm the president of an outdoor activity sports club called Wheels and Wheelchairs, and that's where roller skaters push wheelchair users at speed, and we do that around London, in the streets of London, and we've also taken part in some marathons as well, roller marathons.
Wow. Oh God, I bet that's the right ball. Do you ever feel like slightly out of control?
Yeah, because I'm not exactly controlling it. I have to rely on the person pushing me.
Yeah, you got real trust then.
But then it goes to, like, the skydive, I had to trust the guy who was on my back. The skiing, is people having to control the ski, and even with the tool ship, so it's like an adapted tool ship for all disabilities, and I actually get my wheelchair up on the crow's nest.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I have to rely on all the crew to get me up there. So, all my life's trusting other people. So,
what's coming to mind to ask you now is any of have you ever trusted someone and they've like, yeah, you wish you hadn't?
like, obviously in life, not everything's gonna go perfect. And there have been sometimes, some drastic, as I was like, there's sometimes when people say they're gonna meet me here at this time and they don't show up. But then there's others when not their fault, like no one's purposely done it, but have kind of dropped me, which is not very nice.
I suppose, yeah, accidents do happen, don't they?
Yeah. But there's been more good than bad.
Yeah, so they've come through for you most of the time. So
yeah.
So on the roller skating thing, are you is it like a team with you and your roller skaters, or is it just anybody comes along and there's a wheelchair and there's a skater?
Basically, it's that premise. All the skaters are volunteers, so they learn how to push a wheelchair properly when on the skates, and then if they want to come again the next week after, then they're more than welcome. And the same with the wheelchair users. As long as they let us know in advance, we'll have the wheelchairs there for them to participate, because it's all free.
Well, cool.
Mm.
So you mentioned being wearing several hats. So do you want to tell us about maybe another hat other than your president of the Wheels and Wheelchairs?
I'm also, for 9 years, I've done video editing. So as mentioned, I did vlogging where I would share my adventures. And then that kind of turned into making more professional content for charities. And also I did it freelance as well, for different organizations.
And you do all that using your feet, don't you?
Yeah. So it was a skill that I learned from playing PlayStation with my feet.
Wow.
So
do you have long toes?
No, not long toes. So I have different shaped feet. So I have like 4 toes on one foot and 2 toes on the other. And I've kind of just kind of adapted to being able to use the computer and anything really.
Wow, it really is incredible when you think of how adaptable we are as human beings.
Oh,
When you want to do something and you wanted to play video games, so hey ho, then I'm going to play video games.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
got to put your mind to it.
Yeah, and that links in quite nicely to talk, when you were talking about the law of attraction and how the mind works, and how possible it is, I guess, for anybody to make changes. Because I think that when even just the thought of, like, for most people, writing with their non-dominant hand is a real challenging thing to do, because all of their life they've written with one hand and they've practiced and it's been in their muscle memory, and then you can pick up a pen and you can write with it without thinking, which I'm sure you can probably. Can you write with your toes as well?
I used to, and I used to draw as well, but it's a skill that I kind of shifted onto computer.
Oh, because it just worked a bit easier.
Yeah.
But I suppose the point is, it is possible to, because if something happened to your dominant hand, we could all learn to write again. It would be tedious and hard work and probably frustrating, but possible.
Like, I just remembered, I do write my signature with my foot. And also it's one of those things where if I damaged my left foot in any way, it would, that's when I would feel disabled, actually. Because that's like my dominant foot to be able to use a computer, and do most things. It's not a good thing, but I've damaged my right foot quite a lot out of accidents that I'd had no control over. But yeah, if it was my left one, it would be a whole different story.
Yeah, you were pretty upset about that.
Yeah.
So what if, because one of the things I've been looking into, because I the same as you, I went through a bit of a process, not around my diagnosis particularly, but that was one of the things. I call it my vortex of shit that was going on probably about 6 years ago.
Right.
And everything seemed to be going wrong, and it just
Oh, yes.
feels like life, everyone else was having a great life and I was just watching life go by.
Yeah.
And it was about then that I took to online learning and learned about the law of attraction and realized that actually we can create our own reality, and how we think and feel attracts back into us as well, and we've got control over those, haven't we? We've got control over what we think, therefore how we feel. So what's your, and I talk a lot about beliefs and what you believe is possible. So I'll ask you, what do you believe is possible for you in your future?
It's very difficult because for the past 3 years, I think since the beginning of 2020, I kind of don't do, like, how people have the New Year's resolution. And it's like, oh, I believe I can do this year, and then they go and do it. But I've kind of want to have my focus on just being happy and keeping my mind open to new opportunities, because that's where I feel like, for example, I did a couple of things last year that I didn't even have on my bucket list, as you could say. So I kind of focus on being focused on wanting to just keep doing great things.
Just being that moment to know, that present living, really. Living in the moment.
Like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have goals and all of that, but for me, I just feel like because of my mind is so creative and I can't be stuck down one path all the time. I just like to keep myself open. And that's allowed me, like, for example, one thing I really did not know I would be doing is becoming a model for adaptive clothing.
I did see that. Come on then, tell us a little bit about that then, because that's really quite interesting.
Yeah, it's something I really didn't really it was the last thing I think I would be ever doing, but it's thanks to LinkedIn as well, by the way. So I was sharing my Wheels and Wheelchairs content, and I got contacted by a woman called Victoria from Unhidden Clothing, and she liked what we were doing, and she said, oh, maybe we can do some sort of collaboration together where we'll get the wheelchair users in certain clothings and take some pictures and have a photo shoot. I said, yeah, that would be great. Would love to do that one day with you. And then a couple of weeks later, I found out she had like a pop-up shop in Cambridge and also in London, where she had other people with adaptive clothings, and you could go and visit. It was on Oxford Circus. And I said to her, oh, I'd like to come and visit this store, because when it's come to clothing, my mom just made the clothing fit me. So I didn't really know there was such thing as adaptive clothing. So anyways, I arranged one time to meet, and then I think one of us was busy, and then I said, okay, I'll come next week. So it was coming up to the day, and I said to her, oh, are you still okay for me to come? And she said, oh, yes, I'm having an event where we're going to be modeling the clothes. And then she said, actually, do you want to become a model for one of the items? And I thought, yeah, okay.
Why not?
Yeah. So I'd never done anything like it. And then I ended up being a model for this show, which had about like 40 people attend. And I had no clue what I was doing, but I think I did a good job.
Oh, brilliant. But it's quite interesting that you say, because my ex-partner actually had an accident and broke his neck.
Okay.
And he was okay, but he was in a halo brace. Have you ever seen anybody in a halo brace?
I think I have, yes.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, there it's a big contraption that comes metal things and a big ring around your head, and it it sticks into your head. And then on the bottom bit, it's got this big waistcoat that holds it all up. And again, wearing clothes with wearing a halo brace was, the people were wearing shirts that were too big for them and tying them around the outside, which was just, and I just feel sorry for any lady that was wearing it, because because the way the thing went down was right between your boobs.
Oh,
but
right.
but my ex actually came up with a bit of an adaptive clothing that was like, nobody had ever heard about it in the hospital, whereby we just literally chopped the top of a t-shirt and pulled it up underneath and pinned it back together again, and that was like revolutionary. but it's just like the quite simple things like that we take for granted, just being able to go into a shop and buying something that fits us. It then becomes something else that's not easy.
Yeah, and it was because one of the clothes I wore was magnetic buttons, and I didn't think of that. I thought, wow, that's a really good idea for people who may have like cerebral palsy.
Who struggle with fastening things.
Yeah, and I just thought, wow, like, how come I didn't think of this before? But of course, it's something I haven't needed, but it's even opened my eyes to all of these different ways of things and what people are doing to make things more adaptable for everybody.
So now you're a fashion icon. I'm liking your shirt you've got on at the moment. That's
thank
cool.
you. Yes, and I'm actually going to 3 shows this week for London Fashion Week.
Wow.
Yeah, but not as a model. I'm just attending.
But even so, I suppose that idea of just sort of going with the flow, when you start learning about law of attraction and talk about being in flow, and that seems to be what you're doing very well.
Yeah, it's literally one thing just comes after another. And one thing I do want to mention, I have a friend called Kat who I met on LinkedIn, and she's making me pajamas, fashionable pajamas that I'm going to be wearing for the show.
Nice.
I don't know what they look like fully yet, but I'm going to be wearing that for one of the days.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you have a practice that you sort of keep yourself on a good vibration, if you like, and keep yourself in a good mindset?
Yeah, so when I was learning about all of this stuff is when I started learning about the importance of meditation and breathing exercises, and I did that for about 3-4 months straight, and I thought I did that quite well. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm at a point now where I feel really good and I'm very focused. So this was a bit of a mistake, but I got to that point. I was like, okay, I don't need to do any more meditations anymore. And then a year went by and I got into a point where I was really down again out of nowhere. And I thought, oh, I never thought I'd get back to this point ever again. And I was getting really anxious and a bit, I guess you could say, a bit inflicted anger on myself. Like, how could I get myself here again? So that's when I realized, like, it's important to keep doing it and to keep practicing it, because it's one of those things where it's a journey, not an end destination. And now it's led me on to this year wanting to learn about equanimity. I don't know if
equanimity. No, yeah. Tell me more.
So this is kind of a state of not feeling positive or negative, but you're just living life. Because I'm learning about decreasing ego, and not letting positivity or negativity control my ego, and I just let things happen as it is.
Yes, because I suppose like whether something's positive or negative is a judgment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's feeding ego. Either way.
Yeah.
Because it's also one of those things where, yes, it's good to be positive, but how easy is it, like a negative thing to come in your life and then you feel really upset or you feel really negative and then someone makes you laugh? I think to have that middle ground.
Yeah, and just recognizing that when something happens,
it just happens.
It's not a positive or a negative, because quite often when something happens, depends which side you're looking at it, whether it's a positive or a negative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody else's plus and somebody else's minus.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But I just want to get to, it's going to take me a while, but that's why like monks and all of that are really, you never really see them positive or negative. They're just living life.
Yeah, they're just serene and peaceful, aren't they?
Yeah, and I want to get to that kind of mindset.
So is there a type of meditation that you do particularly that you enjoy, or?
I do guided meditations, where, because I feel it's better when someone's kind of talking to you and what you should do and how you should breathe. I feel a lot more focused that way.
Yeah. And where'd you get those, from YouTube, or have you got someone
YouTube.
Special?
YouTube. Yeah. And that's when I do, and that's where I learn the teachings as well and different ways of thinking.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how much we can learn now without having to go to school.
Of course, yeah. Well, I learned video editing from YouTube.
Yeah, you can pretty much learn anything, and people are so willing to share what they know as well. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice actually. Like, people don't have to do that, but they do, and it's free of charge, and it's great.
Yeah, just because they love it.
Yes.
So tell us more about you and what sort of inspires you, I suppose.
What about me? Gosh, it's a lot of chapters in my book, but I mean, what keeps me going, I feel, is always being able to do something different, and always being able to see what other people are doing. Like, for example, I've absolutely loved being on LinkedIn. I only joined, actually still under a year, still can't believe it. I joined last year, March, after many people were saying, you need to join LinkedIn. And I thought, why do I need another social media?
Yeah.
But it's kind of opened my eyes to so many people doing so many great things within the disability community and other communities, that I feel now I have to keep doing my part for the community, which is why I shared stories and what I'm able to do. And we've got other people sharing their things that they're doing, and I think together that's how we're going to be able to come together, by having us doing our parts.
Yeah, it's very, I mean, I've found the same thing. I've been on LinkedIn for a while, but it's only in the last few months really that I've got active on there and sort of showing up and making contacts and things. And the same thing, it's like, as I'm getting more disabled, I suppose, so I can walk but not very well.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things you don't, as much as you'd like to be aware all the time, people aren't, are they, unless they've experienced it or know somebody close to them that have really lived with the fact that they're in a wheelchair or they can't walk properly, and even just daft little things like not having handrails on 2 or 3 stairs down the steps is now a bit of an issue. And I feel like I'm pointing out to vendors, various different cafes and things, that you really need the handrail on there, and the disabled toilet is not really
oh gosh,
disabled toilets have a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I can't really complain to people, because there's 2 ways of doing it. Either we can complain all the time and say, why is it not like this? Or you can teach people and tell them, look, you can do it better. Because, at the end of the day, and you probably feel the same, we want to help people, make it better and accessible. And, with all these consultations, we are here to answer your questions. People shouldn't be scared. Because I think the problem we all have is people making assumptions. And then they assume what needs to be right. It again ends up being wrong. Then they have to redo the whole thing again, waste all that money when they could have just asked us in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's and I don't know if you find this as well, but it amazes me how many disabled toilets don't have mirrors in. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I don't know, what that's all about. There's quite a few, or maybe it's
Interesting.
just in my hometown. I live in Rugby, and they don't seem to have mirrors in there, disabled people
All
don't want to
right.
see themselves.
Yeah, I think I've seen some which don't. Yeah, it is a bit strange. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think you're right. It's actually speaking to somebody that actually is in a, that uses a wheelchair before they make any adjustments, to actually
Yeah.
see what would be worthwhile, and see, what differences that would really make. Because otherwise, I guess, and it must be a lot to, to take on creating your own business and trying to think of all these things, especially if you're in an older building
Yes.
that
Yeah. Of course.
isn't built for that sort of stuff. But and then they tend to tick boxes that aren't ticked very well, or the
Oh gosh.
disabled
Yeah.
toilet is up a couple of steps or something like that, and you just
The worst one for me is when disabled toilets are a storage cupboard as well.
yes,
Like I think that's terrible.
yeah,
Honestly, I just don't understand why that's a thing.
and then you ended up tripping over bottles of bleach and all sorts of
Yeah, but like I went to one in London and it was like people's locker room was in there. I was like,
Oh
what's
my
going
god.
on? It's so strange.
Not good, not
No,
good.
it was so weird. Yeah. And then some label it as disabled toilet and it's so small, like you can't even get your wheelchair in. And I've been into some really tight gapped ones. So I have a lot of stories when it comes to toilets.
lots of toilet stories that you don't
Yeah,
want to hear about.
yeah, basically. But that's so like it's one of those things where you have to laugh about it, really. Like otherwise you'd get angry at everything, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. So does your illness, is it a progressive thing, or is that something that is caused your disability, and that's it, or is it causing you ongoing sort of issues?
I think the only disability, sorry, illness that I have is I have reflux.
Right.
And that has messed up my stomach. So when I was younger, I would vomit all the time.
No,
And
bless you.
yeah, it would just be so random. And I could be on the train, a bus, wherever, I'll just start vomiting. And because of all of that, it did make my chest inflamed from all the acidity from the sick. And now I'm on like these pills which kind of relaxes my chest and my stomach. But and then it kind of really got affected with my last operation. I don't know why, but since the last operation on my back, I can't eat as much as I used to. Like I feel I don't feel full, but it's like I can't carry on eating.
Oh, doesn't sound
So
much fun.
yeah, so luckily with this medication, it does help. Because there were different ways they could have dealt with it, but this medication seems to be working. And actually, I do feel the difference when I don't take it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it really does make a difference.
So have you had to have a lot of operations?
Yeah, I've had multiple on my back. Yeah. I think about 8.
Wow.
Yeah, on
And
my back.
what have they been doing trying to straighten you up?
Yeah, so it's they put metal rods into. So for those who are interested about scoliosis, it's like the curvature of the spine, and if nothing's done, it would kind of crush my insides. So they got it early to stop that, but so they put the rods in, and then I would go a few more inches, and then they would extend it and keep on extending it every year. So they were smaller operations, and then the last operation they took the rods out and then fused my spine. So now I have like metalwork which is in me forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that painful?
It can be, but not only sometimes if I'm sitting awkward or I lie down for too long. That's the only times where it comes. And actually, after the operation, it was quite painful and sore.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
But the other thing which came out from it was it tilted my pelvis, the last operation. So now I have more pressure on my right leg, and whenever I sit, I get pain in my right leg. If I sit in it for about half an hour, I start to get pain, and then the longer I'm in, the more pain I get.
So do you have like a bit of an exercise routine that you have to, or you would benefit by going through? We've all got exercise routines, but
yeah, I've been wanting to exercise it, and I think I did have physio for a little while, but I mean, it's one of those things wherever I sit, because I've had people give me good cushioning for my chair, different types of seating. It just doesn't seem to cut it really. They were going to operate on it to see if that would help, but after them looking into it and investigating it, they thought that it would be too much of a risk than a reward. There'll be too much complications from having the operation. So yeah, it's kind of something I have to live with at the moment. See if anyone comes and helps me.
Well, yeah, this is it. You don't know what. Well, like you say, people have come and made you pajamas. They can make you all sorts of things.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think just by like being visible and talking about it and sharing your challenges as well as your highlights is, you can't be the only person that is suffering in it, in it with similar challenges that maybe aren't as vocal or as brave or as such high achieving as you, that get out there. And so it's great that you've become a poster boy, really, haven't
you? That's one way of putting it, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. What else did I want to ask you? So how about traveling? I mean, obviously now with all this COVID stuff, but have you managed some traveling prior to all that stuff?
Yeah, so the skiing, I went to Switzerland. I've done the skating in Paris and France, and I've been to New York twice now. Oh, wow. Yeah, and traveling for me, I've kind of done it since a young age, but over time it has got a lot better, especially flying. That you can go to the airport now and someone will assist you all the way to the gate. They walk you through, and apart from some really bad encounters, like when getting on the plane, they get me to see, and then they put my chair on badly, and then they come back and they've unplugged everything, and you need to, you can't do it. You can't, like, for example, they unplug it all from one end, and then they expect you to plug it all back in the other, because I understand why they do it. They don't want the chair going all over the place in the plane, so they have to make it safe. But it's not good for us to have to plug it all the way back in. So recently they've got this plug now which goes into the battery,
right,
and it cuts off all power.
Oh, so they don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, so they give that to you, and I've still got mine, and I could just plug that in and it works fine.
Oh, brilliant.
And there's also traveling around London. The tube is quite good. Transport for London make things a lot more accessible for me.
All right, so you can actually use the tube, can you? Because this is something that I've like. So tell me about how to use the tube in London then when you can't do the escalators.
Yeah, so as times go by, more stations are more accessible now, and I go to one station and I say, oh, I'm going to, for example, I'm going to Green Park. So what they'll do is, I'll tell you how I go to skating on Saturday. So I go to Stratford, where I talk to the people there, and then they call the head office, which then they call ahead to the station I'm going to. And then they get me on the train. They know the train number, what train part I'm on. And then when I get to the station, someone meets me off and helps me with the lifts and all of that, and helps me go to like another line or exit the station. And this thing I kind of used more in the past 3-4 years independently.
Wow. So have you made friends with all the Transport for London people now then? Do they all know you?
Oh yeah, everyone knows me at Green Park, and it's so it's so funny. Whenever I go down the aisle, someone else says, "Oh hey, how's it going?" It's so funny. Even in Stratford, like I know most of the staff now.
Yeah, you're like famous now, aren't you? You're like a mini celebrity. Where you are on I forgot what it's called, LinkedIn, aren't you? Because so tell us about that post, because that was when I first met you as well. Your viral post where yeah, you are
I know, gosh,
sensation.
I know, that's crazy how that flew up actually. So for those who don't know, I kind of went viral on LinkedIn, talking about the professionalism in this day and age, using the hashtag I am professional. And for ages, I did want to write something about it, because I knew about the hashtag for a while. And then my friend...
Sorry, tell us about the hashtag. I don't know about the hashtag.
Oh, so the hashtag was I am professional. And it was basically getting people to basically tell people what the term professional means to them now, because now it doesn't mean that linear term of women in high heels and men in suits. Like, that's not professional nowadays. Especially now that everyone for the past 2 years was locked at home. We all put on a level playing field.
Yeah, we all wear pajamas on the bottom half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know, people still did the job right, you know? So yeah, that kind of shifted the narrative on what professionalism is. And I saw another fellow connection called Nick, and he has he had slip discs and didn't always used to have a disability. And he was saying, you know, he sometimes feels a bit uncomfortable and has that imposter syndrome of he has to sometimes lie down to use the computer. And he always feels it's a bit funny, but, you know, I said, you know, I use that all the time. And that kind of sparked some inspiration for me to write a post about it using that hashtag. And it just goes saying, I'm professional, even though I use my feet to use the computer.
Oh. We've had a brief pause due to children coming home. So we're trying to catch up where we left off, which was Isaac's friends. Oh yeah, Isaac's friend who had his discs.
Yes. So yeah, he became someone with a disability, and he never really felt comfortable using the computer to lie down, because sometimes he's in so much pain that he can't sit up for meetings. And that kind of sparked inspiration for me to write this post. And that's how I started saying, with hashtag I am professional, even though I use my feet to edit videos, attend meetings, and something else I said. And in a day, it got about 1 million views, which was insane. And then a week later, it's now sitting at 7.2 million views.
Wow.
I gained 20,000 followers. And
so how does that make you feel? Because you've been sort of YouTubing and then this, and so where, you know, tell us your story with your social media then, and has this been the highlight or?
Yeah, so okay, so I'll tell you a brief history, but I done YouTube. So I started YouTube, that was kind of my first social media. I did that for a while and nothing really took off as per se. I did win an award in 2017, which...
I won an award.
No, but as in, like, it goes back to when I said about not really focusing on what my achievements were, but I won an award for making a vlog. And yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I ended up winning this award in 2017, and social media journey, sorry. Right.
Yeah, that's it.
um so yeah, I won this award, which was like an competition which was held by YouTube, Evening Standard, Jack Petchy, and the Media Trust. And I ended up winning that. I got onto television, in newspapers, talking about this award that and video that I'd made. And I thought, oh wow, yeah, I'm gonna really get 1 million subscribers now. I'm gonna get loads of viewers. And pretty much nothing really happened from it. And it kind of disappointed me. So I was like, okay, I need to go into another platform. So then I kind of started uploading to Facebook and Instagram a lot more. And I did get engagement and things. And then I didn't really get much of a following. Like, it took me 2 years to get 1,000 followers on Instagram, because I wasn't consistent, and I didn't really.
Right, it's the consistency thing is a challenge. I'm trying to work on that one.
Yeah, it's not easy, and I did the best I could, and sometimes I just wasn't motivated to post things. But I gained, like, in 2 years 1,000 followers. 3 years took that long. And I thought, yeah, I'm not really getting anywhere here either. So eventually that's when I joined LinkedIn, after loads of people pushing me to get on. And I remember my first post on there, and I got about 60 engagements. I thought, oh, this is new. Wow. Like, I've never got so many engagements on posts before. So I kept posting and connecting with people here and there. And then in July, I posted a picture of me talking about Disability Pride Month, which is in July. And this post kind of blew up and went viral. And that was my first time I've ever felt going viral. And I do admit, like, when that happened, I felt really overwhelmed. I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on? There's so many people seeing my stuff, and those people are viewing me. And then a guy who had like over 100,000 followers reshared it, so then it got even more of a boost. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm really overwhelmed. And when this happened, I was like, I kept checking it, and it kind of drained me a little bit. And I thought I had to message everybody and comment on everyone's post. So that happened, and then that gained me like 2,000-3,000 followers. And then it happened again in October, kind of a lower scale, but it kept happening again. But I was a lot more prepared for it. And I thought, okay, I realized I can't answer everybody, I can't connect with everybody, and I can't message everyone. It's just humanly impossible. So that happened. And then, of course, 2 weeks ago happened, and this was kind of like a major viral. Like, the one before only got like 900,000 views, but this one, 7 million in 7 days, is just insane.
Like, you just can't even imagine that many people, can you?
It's insane. It's crazy. And that was kind of overwhelming, but on the other hand, I was mentally prepared for it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So where do you want to go with this, sort of the following, with the social media stuff then? What's your...
I think now that I have a voice and people want to listen to me, and now that my posts are getting quite a lot of engagements, I think I want to carry on just sharing stories. And eventually I do want to start making videos again, like vlogs.
Yeah.
But if I do it, I want to have a team around me to do it.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'll make things a whole lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, but I think when the vlogs, I think I want it exclusive on LinkedIn. But if I do that, of course, it's a professional platform, so I can't do these silly YouTube videos. It needs to be more professional centered. But of course, but I also want to add like the fun things I'm doing, just more. a professional sense to the videos.
Well, I think people, because it was quite interesting, because I commented on somebody was sharing about giving up drinking, and that got a lot of traction, and it also got a lot of people saying, oh, this isn't the place to put that, go back to Facebook, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like, but people share all sorts of stuff because it's part of, you know, if you're going there as a business, it's part of getting to know you as well, isn't it? You know, people share about their kids and about their holidays, about what they've had for tea. It's like, it doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of a fine line, because this is why I like LinkedIn compared to Facebook and Instagram. People seem to be more like-minded, and even with the people saying like this is not Facebook, I think it's said in a much more constructive way. Whereas, you know, Twitter and Facebook, like everyone just throws abuse, and it's like,
not nice.
I don't like this post for blah blah blah. And whereas LinkedIn, like I've never seen a platform where I went viral and mostly every comment apart from one or two is mainly positive. Yeah, and that's shocking. It's shocking. Like I've never seen, I never knew a place existed like that. It's crazy.
You found your tribe.
But I mean, on the other hand, is that a good thing though, that maybe we're sheltered from the hard truth? I don't know. But people are truthful. It's just constructive, whereas other platforms,
it's feedback rather than just, you know, it's, I don't agree with you, slag.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I love LinkedIn, and I still post Instagram and all that, but not as much as I want to now. So I just prefer LinkedIn. I post here daily.
And do you have a bit of a strategy for your posts, or is it just whatever you're inspired to write about at the time?
So before, not many people know this, I used to do blogging, and I used to write a lot of stories on there. And I've always been told that I write good stories. And I've kind of just taken that skill into writing stories. I think because with my life, every day I could write a story. Like one thing a lot of people don't know, I've had bad internet issues for a while, and it's one of those things where I could write a story about it. And actually I did write about it because it was on Valentine's Day, and I think every day I could write something.
Write a story. Have you, because did I read on your bio that you do inspire, you know, public speaking and stuff?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more of it recently, yes.
And do you enjoy that?
I enjoy it, but I still feel I overthink sometimes, and I get muddled up, because for ages I would write a script and I would just read off the script, but I thought, no, I want to be a better public speaker. So I've just been doing like cue cards, which give me pointers, and then I want to get to a point where I don't have any cue cards. Like this, really. I've not really.
So just have you heard of Toastmasters?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit of a Toastmaster, so I would definitely recommend you go, because London must have loads of clubs. Yes. So I would recommend going along. You can go to the first couple of sessions for free. It doesn't cost very much anyway, and it gives you practice to be able to, you know, develop those public speaking skills. So because you're more enough articulate enough to go and talk about something that you're passionate about. It's just being able to frame the speech in a time frame, and that will give you the practice to do that in a very cost efficient way. That would be my advice.
Yeah,
not that you asked for it, but
no, thank you. No, I did a public speaking workshop with someone in the beginning of the year, and she taught me quite a lot of things that I didn't really think of when it comes to public speaking. So I want to see, again, it's like I have so many different avenues. It's like, which one do I want to take? Do I do public speaking? Do I do video editing? Do I do the vlogging again? Do I do the modeling? It's like there's so many different.
Too many opportunities.
I know, I'm just kind of, I like I said, having my options open, but
yeah.
sometimes doing all of them can be a bit much.
Well, this is it. It's almost like,
yeah,
choosing which one you're going to focus on initially. It doesn't mean to
yes,
say that you have to stay there forever, does it? So it's
yeah. And I'm one of those people where if I hear a really good opportunity, I say yes to it, not realizing long term it's going to take effect on all the other things I've said yes to.
I'm a bit like that as well. I have to say, I'm a bit of a yes person, and then, oh yeah, I haven't really got time to do that.
Yeah, so I've been strict on myself to say no more.
Yes, I need to do that a little bit.
But it's not easy.
No. Well, when things that sound fun, and if it's an interesting project, and it's, and I suppose it's getting your values. If your values are aligned, and if they're telling similar message to what you're trying to promote, and it helps get your message out there, then and your message is definitely worth sharing. That it's having a different shaped body, I guess, to the majority of the people doesn't stop you having an amazing life.
Yeah, that's it. All down to what you're thinking in your mind.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Yeah,
definitely. Well, Isaac, I always like to end our healing vibrations with a little meditation. So if you're happy, then get yourself nice and relaxed. And if everybody's there, make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
And you close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, just imagine your body filling with air and good vibes. And then when you're ready, just gently allow your breath to release out of your nose. We'll take another big deep breath in. We'll do a nice little body scan where we connect with whatever your body is trying to tell you in this moment. Bring your awareness down to the bottom of your body, your toes. Just notice what your body is feeling. Is there any tingles or aches or pains? That have a very good look at this meditative Sophie. We will come back. Oh my goodness. This is a live performance.
This is a dog meditation.
Yeah, this is it. We're not going to edit this, by the way. And if you can maintain a nice zen when the dog has done a big bark, then you're doing pretty good.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Take a nice big deep breath in again and just allow your body to be exactly what it needs to be. And touch in with all of your senses. So we're noticing you can hear your sounds. Can anyone still hear the dog barking outside? Might be birds outside as well. As you're listening, just allow your body to relax. If there's any tenseness in any of your muscles, then allow them just to be. And as you take a nice big deep breath in, just imagine the energy of the earth coming up through your body, up into your heart. And up throughout your crown. So imagine all the chakras opening up. All the energies from the earth below being brought through to our bodies as we connect. So we're connected to the earth, and we notice the sounds and the feelings around us. Put a smile on your face and feel the gratitude for having this connection, of being able to talk to people from different areas and different countries through this amazing medium of the internet. We trust that the journey that we're on is going to continue to bring us exciting opportunities and lead us forward in this amazing thing we call life. And whatever challenges have been brought up, we can overcome them. We can learn from them. We can move forward in life with a great attitude and a positive vibe. Let's breathe in that opportunity, the focus on what's good in life, and allow that all to come up through the earth, through your body. With a smile on your face, gently open your eyes. Well, sorry about the disruption. My dog wanted to join it too.
Yeah, and we have a cat here, and he was jumping all over the place.
Excellent. Joining the animals. Joining the animals.
Yeah, they wanted to join in. But I think all podcasts should end with a meditation, really.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? And so we'll finish here because it is the end. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Isaac, it's Isaac Harvey, which is ISAAC. It's very particular about the double A. Yes. HARVEY. And yeah, he's all over LinkedIn at the moment, so you can't miss it. So yes, go say hello to him there and see what he's up to, because it's really good.
Yeah, thank you for having me today. Really enjoyed getting to talk with you.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. We will talk again.
Yes, no, this is the first of many.
Yeah. Until the next time, everybody, this is Gina Dallison from Healing Vibration.